Welcome back to Go Local Live. I'm Ava Gaudette. Next up, right here in the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center via Skype from New York City, we have our Broadway Blog specialist, Matthew Wexler, going to give us some Broadway news. Hey, Matthew, how are you?
I'm good. How are you on this lovely Tuesday, Broadway Tuesday?
Yes, beautiful, beautiful day. I'm doing excellent. I actually just got back from New York.
Yeah, I heard. Rumor filtered its way to me. So did you get to see some Broadway shows?
I actually did. I got to see Waitress. It was beautiful. It was so adorable.
Did you see Betsy Wolfe?
I did, and I loved her performance. I thought she sounded amazing. It was effortless, and it was great.
Yeah, that's a hard role to sing. You know, Sara Bareilles. If people are fans of Sara Bareilles' music, you know, she's Grammy nominated and just an amazing singer-songwriter, and it's a very distinct sort of placement on one's voice, I think. Jessie Mueller was terrific. We're going to be talking about her in a little bit, but I think it's a tricky role to cast.
I absolutely do too, and I think that is why I felt like her performance was effortless, because I do think that there's a lot of range-wise, vocally can be very tricky, like you said, and it just flew right out of her vocally.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful to listen to. So I definitely think from a casting point of view, she was an absolutely great choice.
And did it smell like pie in the theater?
It smelled like pie, and I totally needed pie when I left. I went to famous Joe Allen restaurant on Restaurant Row. I got some banana cream pie, homemade. Oh, it was delicious. The whole experience was complete.
Great. Good to hear. Well, there's lots of casting stuff to talk about, including Betsy Wolfe, which we will get to if you want to jump right in. So we have this ongoing conversation about Hello Dolly. So we talked about it last time. We were predicting who we thought was going to be replacing Bette Midler, and neither of our predictions came true. You suggested Tracy Ullman, which was a little out of the box, what I thought was perfect.
Fun.
Didn't happen.
No.
And I thought Melissa McCarthy would also be a good choice.
Also fun.
Not happened either. Nope. But instead we have an old chestnut from musical theater who we absolutely adore, Bernadette Peters, who was announced as going into the role of Dolly Levi, opposite Victor Gardner, who is also an incredible actor. He's done a lot of TV and film work. He hasn't been on a New York stage in a long time, so the two of them are going in January. They announced an opening night, like a new opening night for her, which is pretty unprecedented. You know, even when stars go into shows that have been running, you don't really get an opening night, quote unquote. So, but it is Bernadette Peters, so she deserves it.
Yeah, I think so. She's sort of like Broadway, legend. Broadway royalty.
Yeah. So that should be good. And then there are, it's now September, so shows are closing. We talked about shows that you should have seen that are now gone, so we're not going to bring those up again. But that means vacant theaters, and there's new stuff coming in, so there's some exciting plays and musicals that are opening this fall and into the spring.
Cool. Well, what do you think are some high points here, some things that we should keep on our radar?
Yeah, there's two plays in particular that have piqued my interest. The first is M. Butterfly, which won 3 Tony Awards when it was originally on Broadway, and we haven't seen a production of it in New York since. And essentially it's about this French diplomat that falls in love with a Chinese opera singer, and that person is not exactly who you think them to be. I'm not gonna spoil, I'm not gonna be a spoiler.
No spoilers.
But it's big sort of plot shift, and it's incredibly romantic and visual, and it's being directed by Julie Taymor, who also is not directed in New York since her epic debacle Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark in 2011.
How could we forget?
Have to see that?
I didn't. I actually didn't. But yeah, I kind of wish I did.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I saw the pre-fixed version,
Yeah.
The hot mess version.
It was a mess. Sorry, Julie, but it was not, it was one of those things that you want to see and just hold on to the program to say, oh, yeah, I saw that.
I was there, yeah.
But she's back better than ever. The theater, you need to be resilient to have a career in the theater. And in spite of Spider-Man, she's had Lion King running on Broadway for, I don't know, like 20 years or however long it's been running. She's an incredible artist, incredibly visual, and this is a very visual story. Starring Clive Owen. For fans Gosford Park and Closer. He's been nominated for Golden Globe and an Oscar, I think. So he should bring some gravitas to the production as well. So I'm excited to see with him in one of the leads and her at the helm what comes to fruition with that production.
Yeah, sounds cool.
And then totally on the opposite end of the spectrum is a new play by Steve Martin called Meteor Shower. And that is co-starring comedian Amy Schumer with 3 other actors. Steve Martin, has been around for a long time as well. Many people know his work as a comedian and as an actor. He started out on Saturday Night Live, but he is also a playwright and a composer as well. He had a show a couple years ago on Broadway called Bright Star that he co-wrote with Evie Brickell, which I used to listen to in the 90s, not to date myself.
We all did,
yeah. Yeah, but that show was really good. It had this kind of Appalachian musical feel to it. But this is a straight play by Steve Martin, which is about 2 couples in Ojai, California, on a night where there's this meteor shower and there's trials and tribulations that happen among them. Perhaps there's alcohol involved. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the script.
It's obviously a comedy, right? I mean, Amy Schumer, it has to be a comedy, but is it a comedy?
It is a comedy, but I do think that there is some gravitas as well. So
yeah. I feel like
Laura Benanti, who is in her musical theater, is co-starring with her, and then there's 2 other actors as well, male actors.
Yeah, I've actually read some of Steve Martin's plays. I love his playwriting. I do think there's a lot of heart in them. So that's why I was wondering if this had some sort of seriousness or if it was just comedy. But so we're going to get to see Amy Schumer do some drama, maybe.
I know. I think it's going to be very physical as well. I was reading an interview with Laura Benanti, who's one of the other actors in the play, and she's sort of talking about the physical aspect of the production. And Amy Schumer, people might sort of dig that star casting, but she did go to school and study theater. And I read her memoir last year, The Girl with the Lower Back Tattoo, which is a pretty fun read. And she's been very resilient. It's not easy to reach the level of success that she's reached. So I think she's going to be terrific. I'm excited to see that play. So, and Butterfly opens on October 26th, and Meteor Shower opens on November 29th. So if people are planning on coming into the city, you can pick up tickets for that, either of those. And then we were just talking about Betsy Wolfe, who is in Waitress right now, but is going to be, hitting the road to start rehearsals for Carousel, which is not coming to Broadway until the spring, but tickets just went on sale this weekend. So this is a revival of the classic Rodgers and Hammerstein romantic musical about Julie Jordan and Billy Bigelow, and it's co-starring, who's it co-starring? Joshua Henry. So Joshua Henry is on tour with Hamilton right now. He has probably 7 or 8 Broadway shows under his belt as well. So that should be pretty fantastic.
Do you think this is going to be like with a kind of new, fresh twist, or is this going to be sort of a classic rendition?
It's a good question. I think what makes Carousel so majestic is sort of one of those golden era shows in musical theater is the score, and regardless of how that's interpreted in terms of its staging, there's something just so beautiful and magnificent about that music. That as a songwriting team, this was their second show after writing Oklahoma, and they were really worried about what they were going to do to sort of top that, because that was sort of reinventing the world of musical theater in terms of storytelling, and this was a huge hit when it premiered in the 1940s as well. So this also has opera star Renee Fleming in it as well. So I'm excited to hear those high notes coming out of her on the Broadway stage.
Gotta love it.
So yeah, that should be pretty good. So that opens April 12th. And then if you have some money to burn in your pocket,
this ticket is a little hard to get.
Yeah, as in impossible. So Bruce Springsteen is coming to Broadway for a solo show. It's going to be acoustic, sort of piano and guitar and Bruce on stage. I don't know if he's going to be completely by himself or maybe have a couple guys backing him up. But tickets sold out practically instantly, and then they added a bunch of shows to extend it until February 3rd, I think, 2018, and those sold out immediately. So I was digging around online just to see, Ava, like if you wanted to come to the city and I could take you to see Bruce Springsteen for sure. $17,000 for a pair of tickets. I know.
That is insanity.
I know, it's crazy. Well, he's used to selling these huge stadiums with 40,000 plus seats. So he's playing the Walter Kerr, which is so I guess if you amortize like the cost of seats in a stadium versus in the Walter Kerr Theater, which is maybe, I don't know, 1,500.
Right.
Maybe we'll see how much the value is. So that'll be great. I don't know. You're gonna have to dig deep for that. Maybe someone who gets a good holiday bonus can pick up those tickets.
Right, or like wins the lottery.
Or wins the lottery.
Right.
Yeah, we can wish. We can win.
So we have some cool things happening in Boston, which is a little hop, skip, and a jump from Providence. So what do we have going on over there?
Yeah, I think it's great to consider other markets in terms of getting your theater fix. Of course, we love New York. There's lots happening on Broadway and beyond, but we're always keeping our eye on what's happening regionally, and especially for you in Providence. How close are you to Boston?
An hour.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can even go in for a matinee or something, or if you want to make a weekend out of it. So there's 2 shows that are happening this fall that I actually would get on a bus or a plane to go to Boston for. One of them is the national tour of Fun Home, which won the Tony Award a couple years ago. It's based on the graphic novel by Alison Bechdel, which is about the story of this young woman and her discovering her own sexuality and her relationship with her family, particular with her father. It's really a stunning piece. I saw it in New York twice. The tour is fantastic. The reviews have been amazing across the board. And I just have to shout out to one of my show crushes who I have watched her work for 20 plus years. She's a Chicago-based actress. Her name is Susan Moniz, and she's actually playing the mother in this production. Susan is I can't even tell you how amazing this performer is. I saw her do Eva Perón in Evita probably 20 years ago. And she, probably could have come to New York and had a fantastic career on Broadway. She did do one of the revivals of Grease, I think, in the 90s. You can YouTube that and probably see clips of her. But she has a family, and like many Chicago actors, she's chosen to make that home, but she's gone out on the road with Fun Home, so I would go just to see her.
Wow, yeah.
You
sold me on her.
Another show that I saw in London actually is Merrily We Roll Along, and that's being staged at Huntington Theatre Company through October 15th.
Yeah.
And that's directed by Maria Friedman. This show, when it opened in the 70s, was gone in a hot second. It was really difficult for people to wrap their heads around. It's about 3 friends, and it's told backwards, and it's kind of confusing, but a terrific score. And Maria she's done just something incredible with telling the story. She's also cast somewhat more mature actors in these roles instead of casting, 20-somethings. And you know one of them and are going to be talking to one of its stars next week, is it?
Well, we're still trying to confirm our time, but we're hoping to get her on. Yeah, the one and only Eden Espinosa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's playing Mary, one of the 3 leads in that production. And I think it's probably going to be fantastic. I would love to get up to Boston to see that. So that runs through October 15th. And then Fun Home is playing in Boston from October 17th through October 29th.
Perfect. I think we should all make that little short scooch over to Boston and check it out. I know I will. Well, Matthew, thank you again for making us feel cool and giving us the Broadway and regional theater news. We always appreciate it, and we'll have you on again in a few weeks. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Yeah, curtain down. Great to see you.
Great to see you.